everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I've been married to a covert narcissist for almost 20 years. I'm separated from him now, and what I do with this channel is I use my real life experiences to get information out there to people about what narcissism really is, what it looks like, what it does to you, and what it does to your family. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 signs that you married a narcissist. Now, the first sign that I'm going to talk about is actually a hallmark of narcissism, and that is lacking empathy. Narcissists lack empathy for other people. They are 100% insensitive to the feelings of anybody else. Now, this is difficult for especially an empath to comprehend because us empaths, we feel so much for other people. We go overboard with our care and concern for other people. A narcissist really is to the other extreme. They don't care about anybody else at all. So when I say that they lack empathy, I mean 100%. They don't just have less empathy than you do, or they just have a little bit of empathy. They don't have any. But you're not going to know this initially. Nobody marries somebody knowing that they're a narcissist. So eventually, so at the beginning of the relationship, you believe that your spouse loves you, has your back, cares about you, will be there for you. As the relationship progresses, it will eventually become very obvious that this person doesn't care about you at all, not even the slightest bit. And it's not just you. If you have children with a narcissist, this also extends to the children. It really goes to everybody. No, the narcissist doesn't care about anybody. The reality, though, is that the people that are with them the most, so their family, you, the kids, this is who the narcissist has to be fake to all the time if they wanted to pretend to be somebody else. So they can pretend to be somebody else to other people. It's easy to do that for an hour or two, and it's easy to do that at the beginning of the relationship with you or at work during the day. But in reality, if you're with this person, you live with this person, they're not going to play this game all the time. And especially after they have you, you're going to see who the narcissist really is. Who the narcissist really is a cold, calculating, cruel person who completely lacks empathy, has no care, concern, or love for you, your children, at all. And you will see this in the cruelest ways. Now, in my relationship, typically what would happen, and this had happened several times, my ex would do something terrible. He would devastate me in some way. One time, about 10 years ago, he told me that he had $80,000 in credit card debt. I couldn't breathe when he told me this. Really, I felt like the breath was I felt like someone punched me in the stomach. I actually fell to my knees and I was distraught. I felt like my life was over. How are we going to possibly deal with this? How could we do this? How are we going to get out of this mess? $80,000. I'd never heard of somebody having that type of credit card debt before. It was insane to me. I was distraught. Now, it's weird to say this because I kind of wanted him to come for me. I wanted him to say something. But now that I think about it, what was he going to say? He was the one that did this. And it isn't like he was going to say to me, oh, it's because our child had cancer and I had to pay these medical bills. It wasn't something like that. He had $80,000 in credit card debt because he was irresponsible. He was out of control. He was drinking, gambling, buying drugs. This is why he had $80,000 in credit card debt. I had no idea, none. I was leveled, gutted. I couldn't believe it. So this is what he would typically do in a situation like this. He would either give me the silent treatment or do what he did in this case. He just gave me what's called the narcissistic stare. If anyone's ever seen that, please put it in the comments. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. It's terrifying. This is when you're seeing who the narcissist really is. Narcissistic stare is when the narcissist will just glare at you and there's no life in the eyes. You really can tell a lot about a person when you look at their eyes. You can see kindness, you can see love, you can see empathy, you can see who the person is. That, your eyes really are the window to the soul. You can see so much looking in somebody's eyes. A narcissist doesn't have that. They're able to fake it to a degree, but if you see the narcissistic stare, you are seeing who they really are. There's no life there. If you've ever seen a dead person or a dead animal, that's what the narcissistic stare looks like. There's nothing behind the eyes. It's terrifying. You can feel it. Your body reacts to it. There is a physical reaction in your body to the narcissistic stare. You know something's really wrong. You're looking at evil. The hairs in your body stand up. It's really scary. It doesn't last that long. It lasts a few seconds, maybe a minute, but it is unmistakable if that happens. If you see the narcissistic stare, Never forget it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't think, oh, that must not have happened. It happened. And that's a blessing, really. It's scary, but it's a blessing because now you know who this person really is. You saw the real them. You saw who they are behind the mask. I've heard people say, I haven't personally seen this, but I've heard people say that their narcissist eyes turned black, like the eye color changes when they give this narcissistic stare. It's a real thing and it's terrifying. This is somebody that has no empathy, no compassion. They're just a cruel, evil person, and this is who you're with. Don't underestimate it and use it as a launching point to get your freedom. Somebody like this is never going to be a real partner for you. Somebody who is evil is never going to turn loving. It doesn't happen. Somebody like this is always going to be like this. You need to make decisions based on who this person is, who you're seeing, because narcissists, somebody who lacks compassion, somebody who is evil can be dangerous. There's no filter. There's nothing there that's going to stop them from doing something horrible. When you hear, like my ex, he told me he had $80,000 in credit card debt. He easily could have decided just to wipe out me and the kids. This is what you hear about sometimes when you hear about people that kill their families. They'll lose their home or they'll have lost their business, lost their job, and they don't want to tell their spouse. So instead of telling their spouse, they just kill the whole family. These are narcissists. Now, I'm not saying that all narcissists will do this. In fact, most won't. But you can't know which ones will and which ones won't. So if you are with somebody who does this type of thing and you've seen this look, be afraid because you don't know. Maybe your narcissist won't hurt you, but maybe they will. There's no filter for a narcissist. So I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I just really want people to understand this is a reality. My channel is all about helping people who are suffering from narcissistic abuse understand the reality, what's really going on. Somebody who has this type of situation where they're looking at you with these cold, dead eyes is somebody that is capable of anything. Now, our last Christmas together, which is a couple years ago, my ex and I both got food poisoning on Christmas Eve. So we were driving home and I was feeling horrible. I was so sick. So I told him, I'm going to pull over to the side of the road. I'm going to throw up. So I pulled over to the side of the road. I throw up. I come back in the car and he looks at me and he's like, I can't believe you did that. That was so disgusting. How could you do that? I said to him, well, what did you want me to do? I was either going to throw up in the car. Is that what you wanted? Or I was going to throw up on the side of the road. So we get home and I immediately went to the bathroom. I was throwing up. I was so sick. It was really bad. And at one point I just laid on the bathroom floor. It just felt so good to have the cold tile there. So I'm laying there. He comes into the bathroom and he wasn't coming in to help me or comfort me or see if he could do anything. He's just standing there looming over me. And he said to me, I can't believe you're just laying on the floor like this. Do you have any idea how pathetic you look? And at the time, I was thinking to myself, you have no idea. Screw you. I didn't say that to him, but I was thinking that. So later, I was better. It was a couple hours later. I was better. Went to bed. It was Christmas Eve night. And in the middle of the night, I woke up to go to the bathroom. So I get up and I noticed my ex wasn't in bed next to me. So I'm like, oh, he must be in the bathroom. So I'm like waiting a couple of minutes. He never came out. So then I walk into the bathroom. I go in and there he is laying on the floor. So for me, that was instant karma. But he was laying on the floor and he was moaning. He had his clutching his stomach and he's telling me how sick he was. And then he proceeds to tell me that I have no idea how sick he is. Now remember, I had just been sick with the exact same thing a couple hours earlier. But I have no idea how sick he is. It's so much worse for him because I threw up on the way home. I was so lucky. You're so lucky you have a weak stomach. Not me. I don't have a weak stomach. So mine just sat there. Now I'm so sick. I'm worse than you. I feel way worse than you. You have no idea how sick I really am. I mean, it was just so ridiculous. So whatever. So he's laying there. He actually spent the next week in bed. He was in bed for a week. He took a week off of work because of this food poisoning that I recovered from in a few hours. So my kids and I were talking about it later the next day or during the week. And this leads me into the second thing I'm going to talk about, which is blind to reality. So a narcissist is completely blind to reality. So let me get into the issue of my ex being sick when I talk about this. My ex would always tell the kids and I that, he was single-handedly the most important person at work, that his office could not survive without him. It just would be impossible because he controls the whole office. In fact, he does 10 jobs at one time. I know he only gets paid for one, but he runs the office. They would fold without him. That office would not be able to survive. Now, he works at a big finance company in Boston. They would be able to survive just fine without him, but according to him, they would not be able to. So when he took this week off work, my daughter said to me, she's like, geez, how could he take that week off work? I can't believe the company's still in existence when he's not working. We knew at that point, we knew the relationship was basically coming to a close. We knew what was really going on with him. But still, it's like, this is him. So he's blind to reality. He's telling us how important he is, yet he can still take a week off of work. Narcissists don't see things that are right in front of them. They absolutely refuse. They have their own view of reality, and they want everybody else to see their view of reality too. My ex, a couple of years ago, well, it was a year and a half ago, actually, we had a big issue where he was banging his head against the wall. I called the police to come over because I was afraid. Child Protective Services got involved because my ex blamed me. He told the police that I threw him into a wall. If you could see the two of us, he's double my size. I wouldn't be able to pick him up if I wanted to. So that's why I called the police, because I knew he could crush me easily if that's what he wanted to do. But he told the police that I did this. Now, nobody believed him, but that still triggered a Child Protective Services investigation of me. So it turned out Child Protective Services, the investigation ended, and they sided with me. They had sided with me from the beginning because everybody knew my ex was lying. But on the official report at the end, it said that my ex should not live at the house unless he gets counseling, and then he has to go through all this process to be living at the house. So he knows this. He saw the report. It got mailed to him, right? He knows this. So I told him, he told me that that's ridiculous. That's so stupid. He's like, I'm going to call them. I'm going to call them and just clear it up, because it was probably something that you said. You need to understand that if you're going to lie to Child Protective Services, that this is why this happened. I'm perfectly safe to be around you, to be around the kids. I should be living at the house. And I told him, you are the result of this. You're the cause of this. This is the conclusion. You're not going to be able to say anything. Don't you understand this? So eventually I was able to talk him out of calling, but this is what he wanted to do. He really believed that I must have said something. He doesn't understand that everybody knew he was a liar. Everybody saw that he's double the size of me. Everybody saw that I wasn't going to be able to throw him into a wall. The kids were interviewed. The kids told the Child Protective Services woman what had happened, what they saw, what had gone on in the house. He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear. He has a police record from I had to call the police to the house so many times because of the way he was acting. He was in a mental hospital. He doesn't see this. He doesn't see it. He just thinks it must be you. I must somehow be such a good actress that I'm able to convince people of things. The same thing happened when it came to a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist told him that he had narcissistic personality disorder. He's actually been formally diagnosed with this. He insists that it's because of me, that I somehow have the power to convince a psychiatrist that he has a mental disorder when he really doesn't. He acts like I have the amazing ability to convince anybody of anything, that he is completely innocent, and that his problem really is that he is married apparently to such a fantastic actress that I'm able to just convince anybody of anything that I want, and I must have these magic powers. This is how he lives. This is part of narcissistic personality disorder. People who have narcissism, they don't see reality. And if you are the one who is married to them, they're going to blame you for everything. Now, in the same way, the same person, right, my ex, who believes that I have the amazing ability to convince people, psychiatrists, pastors, the police, everybody, that he's a bad person when it's actually me who's lying. This is the same person who still wears his wedding ring and still is just waiting for me to invite him back to the house. Now, he really believes that at any time I'm going to tell him that I really, really want him to live at the house. There's no reality. So you're dealing with somebody who essentially is truly delusional. They only see things for how they want to see them, not how things really are. Now, the third thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to narcissism is that they enjoy manipulation. Manipulation is fun for a narcissist. They like torturing you. This is a difficult reality when you're with a narcissist to understand this. If you're being given a silent treatment by a narcissist, they're enjoying it. They like this. This gets them off. This is fun for them. They'll ignore your calls, your texts. They'll leave the house for long periods of time, all in an effort to train you to walk on eggshells and force you to comply and accept their abusive behavior. You end up afraid. You're like a lab rat in a little maze. They're training you to go down each little corridor because they want you where they want you. They want to control you. Narcissism is about control. Towards the end of the relationship, my ex would just leave. He would go to work and then he wouldn't come home for a couple of days. So I'd be calling him like, where are you? Eventually he would call and he would cry and tell me that he couldn't come home because he had been gone for so long. And what were we going to tell the kids? He wanted me to say, don't worry about it. It's all right. I'll talk to the kids. There's really no problem. You should come home. I love you. That's what he wanted me to say. And at the very beginning, I did do that. But towards the end, I didn't even say that. And so he would just walk in as if nothing happened. So the whole thing was an act to begin with. He wanted to train me. He wanted me to just comply to whatever he wanted to do. He wanted me afraid that he was going to leave for a few days and that I should do anything to keep him from leaving. So a narcissist enjoys doing this. For a long time, I believed that my ex didn't know what he was doing when he was manipulating me. I was completely blind. I'm telling you, if you're in this situation, they know. They know exactly what they're doing. Now, number 4, the fourth thing that I'm going to talk about is that a narcissist is hypersensitive. They're hypersensitive to criticism. You can't say anything, even slightly negative, to a narcissist. They act tough, but the reality really is that if you're with a narcissist, they're like one of those chocolate Easter rabbits, they're hollow inside, just a little bit of pressure and they're going to completely crumble. You're not with a tower of strength if you are with a narcissist. You're with somebody that can't hear even the slightest insult at all. And it's not even that you'd be insulting them. If you have any little criticism, anything that you say, a narcissist can't handle it, and they will immediately go into punishment mode. So you're not with somebody that you can have a good equal relationship with, that you can grow together, that you can strive to be the best together. That is not how it is at all for a narcissist. When I told you earlier in the video that my ex had the $80,000 in credit card debt, when I got mad about that, he was insulted. He was mad that I felt that way. I didn't understand. There's so much pressure trying to provide for a family. These are the things that he's saying to me. He's never going to see the truth. This is how it is for all narcissists. They don't understand reality. They're better than everybody else. So you're not allowed to criticize them, even when it's deserved. And even if it's something small, no matter what it is, a narcissist cannot take it. Now, the last sign that I'm going to talk about being married to a narcissist is that they are entitled. Only the best for the narcissist. My ex gave no thought to finances at all. I was always good with finances. I was worried about finances. I was always trying to do the best that I could. I've always lived on a budget. My ex has never had to do that. I was on my own since I was 18. My parents did help me with college, but other than that, I was on my own. I had to pay my own rent. I had to do everything, which is fine. That's how I think it's actually better to be. I'm not saying that I think it should be any other way, but I was used to doing this. My ex was not. He was always entitled. His parents did everything for him, and that caused him extreme problems, and that ended up causing me extreme problems. If he felt like he needed something, he would just go out and buy it, And for example, we moved to a new house that has a bigger yard than our old house. He thought nothing of going out and buying a $1,000 riding mower. Nothing, not at all. It wasn't even something that he was talking about. He just went and did it. He just bought it. He didn't care. But then at the same time, when I told him I wanted to get my eyebrows waxed for $20, oh, that's way too much money. You can't do that. You can't afford that. We can't afford that. You want $20 every month. You're going to do that? No, you're going to have to pluck your own eyebrows. Just like little things like that. He spends $1,000, but I can't spend $20. Our son needs braces or needed braces. Yes, now. My ex did not want to pay for that. What, are you kidding me? $5,000 for braces? No, he doesn't have to deal with that when he's older. But he needs a new computer. He's out the next day buying it. This is how a narcissist is. Only the best for the narcissist. I need a new phone. You don't need a new phone. That's fine. It works usually. It works most of the time. You're going to have to just survive on that. He needs a new phone. He gets out the next day and goes and gets it. This is what I'm talking about. This is going to be your life if you are with a narcissist. These are only a few signs. There are so many more. I might make a part 2 to this. If anybody wants me to do a part 2, put it in the comments. If not, I probably won't. But if you're interested, there's more. I wrote so many down, but I can see that the video is almost 20 minutes now, so I'm going to just stay this way. If you see any of these signs, truly what you need to do is run for the hills. you are with somebody that is not going to change. And I know some people will say, well, yes, they can change. God can change them. Yes, that's probably true. But the problem I have with that, with hoping for that, are you really going to give your life away hoping that God interferes? The reality, my knowledge of God, is that he helps people who help themselves. God is not Santa Claus. He's not going to, and he can do this. Yes, absolutely. I'm not going to speak for God. I'm just saying my understanding of God, my relationship with God is that he has been outstanding to me. He's been so good to me, but I've also had to do the work. I've had to meet him, halfway. God isn't just he's not, Santa Claus just giving me gifts, giving you gifts, giving anybody gifts. Anybody can have the saving grace of Jesus. Yes, I believe that. But you have to accept him. You have to accept that there is a God above you. You are actually not God. You have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror. I have done things in my life that I'm deeply ashamed of, things that I wish I hadn't done. And in order to improve, I have to be able to look in the mirror and see them and say, all right, you know what, I did it. I did that. This is something I did. I shouldn't have done it. I had to pay for that, and I did pay for it. The person that I am today is somebody that's been able to look in the mirror, somebody that's been able to improve and make better choices in their life. I want a better life. I know what I want. I'm not just going by my own selfish needs and desires. I have kids to raise. I'm trying to be a good person. A narcissist isn't living that way. They're living in their carnal nature where everything is about them. They can't see anything above them. My ex wants a relationship with God. He doesn't have one. He's an atheist, but he wants a relationship with God. He's told me this. His problem is that he's waiting for God to bestow gifts on him. He wants God to give him a winning lottery ticket, things like that. He doesn't realize, doesn't understand. In order to have a relationship with God, in order to be saved, you have to do work first. You have to take the first step. They say Jesus is at the door knocking. You have to open the door. So that's what you need to do. So if you're with a narcissist, yeah, technically God could save them, but the narcissist has to take the first step. They have to open up that door. So don't waste your life. If it happens, great. Make your choices based on that. Personally, even if something great like that happened for my ex, I would never take him back. So much pain has happened. You have to think about that reality too. Are you willing to take somebody back? Are you willing to be with somebody who has hurt you to the degree that they have, when there are good people out there, people that will love you and cherish you, people that you can love and cherish, somebody that you're not afraid of, somebody you don't have to walk around on eggshells with? So that's really just my 2 cents there, but I want everybody to have the best relationship that they can. I know that there's love out there. I've seen it myself. I have it inside of me, and there's a beautiful world out there if you're willing to work for it. So thank you so much for watching this video. Very grateful for everybody who watches my videos, truly. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing to the channel. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if all goes well, I will see you on Wednesday, and I hope everybody has a great week. God bless.